Now, the Emfuleni Local Municipality in Sebokeng, south of Johannesburg, has a long history of financial mismanagement and corruption, which has led to the total collapse of governance and a failure to deliver basic services. In June 2018, the Gauteng provincial government placed Emfuleni under administration as provided for by Section 139 of the Constitution to provide support to improve the dire financial condition of the municipality. Now, later, a new team of administrators was appointed as the initial intervention did not produce the desired outcomes. And the Emfuleni Municipality lead administrator, Gilberto Martins, joins us now to talk to us about his mammoth task and whether he is managing to turn the tide, as it were, at Emfuleni. Gilberto, good morning. Thanks for your time.
Good morning, Sakina. Good morning to your viewers, and thank you for the opportunity.
So let's just start, given that so many municipalities in South Africa are now being placed under administration, what exactly does that process entail when a municipality is placed under administration?
Well, the Section 139 1B is critical because it's a support function. So it's not a takeover function, it's a support function of the administrators. It's a supporting to the team that's there, and just to ensure that the ongoing mandate of the municipality is achieved. So it's not a Section 139(1)(c) where it would be seen as a greater takeover. This is a support function where all the municipal manager is in place, the executive directors are in place, and what happens collectively with the political leadership, we work together to try and ensure that, correct what's not working, to ensure service delivery to the communities.
How easy or how difficult is that process, though, when you still have all the office bearers in place and you are there to support them, but to support them to do things differently from what they have been doing?
It's not always easy because you'll always get change is always difficult, and you'll always get certain people who may not want to support the intervention. But certainly with the support of the national and provincial government, together with the political leadership in Emfuleni, we've worked as close as possible on the three critical areas that we were asked to look at to ensure that we'd work collectively, certainly within the systems, within the FMMA, to achieve those deliverables. But yes, at times, if you say to me, is there 100% commitment and is everybody working together? COVID didn't help, but certainly we have continued. And yes, since July, we've made numerous interventions, and these have been positive and have yielded certain results.
Let's talk about that. Your terms of reference, the scope specific to Emfuleni, and when you say that you have managed to make some inroads, which are those?
Well, first of all, the terms of reference are very clear. We didn't take over the entire municipality. There were three critical focus areas that we felt were linked to communities. The first one was on the financial department. The second one was the supply chain management. And the third one, and the most important one, was provision of basic services to the community of Emfuleni. So if we look at the simplicity of those three areas, they're the most complex, they're the most cross-cutting, and have the highest impact on residents of Emfuleni. Now, if we look at some of the achievements that we have, and certainly we would like to have a lot more, but the critical ones, for example, we were able to pay approximately 170 creditors who've had money outstanding for many, many months. By the 1st of May, we had paid all 170 creditors, approximately 170 of them, 350 million rand. And that was critical because some of these creditors had not had money for many, many months, and some were basically township economies who were trying to be entrepreneurs, but certainly Emfuleni wasn't helping. The other issue, which is very, very important, was the roads and the rehabilitation program, which in conjunction with the Gauteng province, another 175 million rand was spent, and all of this has been completed. This was completed in August of this year. The Section 63, which is a critical one, which we always read about, which is the sewer and the sanitation and the water, that program is in place, and currently 18 contractors are on full standby and working continually to unblock sewers. And this is critical because this is one of the areas that have been very critical, and as you would know, with the Human Rights Commission. So working together with the department and province, we've certainly been addressing these issues. Those certainly are important, and the latest one, obviously, is the implementation of a smart meter system, and that's just to make sure that people will be able to pay for services but equally that they are billed correctly. So those are certainly the highlights that one is looking at, and as well as trying to collect the debt that's owed to the Emfuleni.
I don't have to tell you, I'm sure you're aware that people are skeptical of administrators. So just in terms of the powers that you have as an administrator over an already existing function and personnel, the processes that are already existing within the municipality. For example, as you pointed out, there are still reports of financial mismanagement at Emfuleni, even during the administration process. And I know there was another administrative team before you took over the lead now. But even during this time, people are still complaining of corruption. The residents are still complaining about a lack of service delivery and sewer spillages. I have messages in my inbox from Emfuleni where people are complaining, asking for help. So how exactly would you say things have changed in real terms, in tangible terms, for people on the ground?
Well, the reality is that the damage that was done certainly vast. And in 6 months, 1 year, and possibly in 2 years, you will not address 100% the areas that have been addressed. The corruption issues, clearly, if it's out there that people are being corrupt and members and officials are being corrupt, people should report it. People should lay, let's put it, charges against people having proof, because that's critical to try and put Emfuleni back on the right track. But yes, in all honesty, if it wasn't without the help of the residents who've now taken on themselves, over the weekends, they fill potholes, they're cutting grass, they're doing wonderful work. And without their support and the business support, we would be further back. But the strides that we've made, yes, we're not there completely. That's a fact. And sadly, you look at the state of vandalism, particularly in the electrical field. It's really, really tragic that you'll put up a brand new transformer on a Monday. The following week, unfortunately, due to vandalism and theft, people will steal cables. And this is an ongoing challenge. So the whole community ownership of everything we do is critical. And it must be a role that, together with the officials of the municipality, they would take on. Have we reached 100% completion? We haven't, and it will be an ongoing challenge for many, many months, and certainly post the 1st of November, the entire leadership would need to again consolidate what's been achieved and focus on how do you make a difference to the communities and get back to basics. It's all about getting back to basics. The fact that our call center had collapsed, but certainly by the December we will have a call center in place, is critical. The issue that our fleet was not up to standard, and thanks to the GDOT of the province, we've received vehicles for waste. So it is small steps, but the massive task that lays ahead, without certainly an intervention where the community take ownership, and if they see things wrong, certainly I'm not saying they would take the law into their own hands, but to ensure that the authorities are notified. I meet with SAPs every single Wednesday. Today I'll be meeting with them again. And what are we looking at? We're looking at things like drugs, the homelessness, dealing with the basic issues where we're trying to rally around and certainly at a ward base, get the communities to be vigilant and watch and see what's happening, because clearly the officials cannot get everywhere. And unfortunately, we just don't have the presence where certain things are happening in the evening. I don't have to go any further, but you're all aware of this terrible video that was deemed around, it went viral, of someone who was electrocuted when stealing a high tension cable. It's this that we have to certainly address. But yes, there's a long way to go. But I think with our small steps and building on as we go along with the support of the national government and provincial government, we will get there.
And I totally agree with you. The community certainly has to come on board and realize that when things like cable theft happen, it's to their detriment and perhaps assist in that way. But then I also have to ask that if you know that this is how things are unfolding, if this is the modus operandi of the criminal element, that you put something up today and it's gone tomorrow, what is being done along with the police in order to ensure, greater safety and reliability around looking after this infrastructure?
Well, the municipality went out on tender recently, and it was there ready to get a security company to guard all the infrastructure of the municipality. Equally, for example, on the Section 63, and it's called Module 5 in Sebokeng, we've got security on there, which is provided by the Department of Water and Sanitation. We work closely with SABC to certainly assist us and patrol with us. But the vast area of Emfuleni, it's interesting because when you consider Emfuleni, the vast Vaal River area, the vast farmlands and open lands, certainly the big areas of our settlements, sometimes informal settlements, the communication strategy and back to the communities is critical. So Emfuleni will do what it can within its reasonable, let's say, purview to achieve and do the security. But for example, the unfortunate issue is approximately 3.5 months ago, if you went to the city of Vereeniging, you didn't find one single manhole cover. And this was due to just theft and vandalism. They've now all been replaced. We've used different types. And this is why, because we know that the issue of scrap metal, the issue of cables is critical. If you look at our pump stations, they are located in remote areas, farmlands. When I say farmlands, very close to the river. So when people drive down there, there's the security personnel. And we're not talking about people arriving there and threatening you verbally. We're talking about threats, high caliber weapons, not one or two, 15 to 20 people. And if need be, as you would know, 4.5 months ago, they shot 2 of our security guards. So unfortunately, it's not an easy process. Yes, we're guarding issues. We've now put remote security systems, particularly on the electrical transformers and the substations, together with Eskom. But certainly, it's a vast task. And what we really appeal to our communities who've been very helpful and they've contributed is, if they see something wrong, they would need to contact authorities as soon as possible. The people that are buying the scrap metal, there's a market there. And yes, at the moment, SABC is reviewing all the permits because they are the permit issuing. And this is the working that we've got together with SABC, together with communities and together with the authorities within the Emfuleni area.
So, in that case, where it is clear that this is perhaps a more syndicated and a higher level crime, surely it shouldn't be just the task of Emfuleni. Surely you need to get higher structures involved in trying to curb this, because it can't be that the municipality keeps paying for the same thing over and over, because ultimately you do pass the cost on to the consumer.
Yeah, look, and particularly electricity, let me focus on that one for now. Obviously, metal is an issue. Any metal piece that can be sold becomes vital. But as you rightly said, if you steal, for example, 500 meters of cable, it won't affect one person. It will affect an entire area. And then you've got to replace that cable, find it all. You're up to 2 weeks without power. Now, the reality of this is that together with SABC and certainly aggressively with SABC, together with Eskom, we've met Eskom. We're saying, is there alternative methods of putting in our cables? Do we put them underground? Do we put them overhead? And these are all the attempts that we are doing to make sure, particularly on the electricity side, because what happens is that every loss of electricity, Eskom will bill it because it's going out of their substation, but we can't bill it because it's literally lost in the system. It could be illegal connections. It could be a cable that's stolen. Once it's stolen, we lose all that revenue. So it's very difficult, and certainly we have raised this. We've raised it as saying, is it possible to make certain of our structures, particularly the water treatment plants, our sewer treatment plants, our electrical substations and transformers, how do we make sure that these are protected? And equally, a simple thing like illegal connections. How do we address illegal connections when we know they're there? And unfortunately, when the team goes in to unconnect the illegal connections, they've got to go under heavy security guard, in this case being SABC. So we're trying desperately, but unfortunately there will always be an element who works possibly 2 steps ahead of us. As we close the hole, they'll open the next situation that they can see. But certainly we've raised it. We've raised it with the minister. We've raised it with safety and security. And it's something that we track every week, including meeting prosecutors to understand how do we make sure that these crimes, which in the end become not only a cost issue, but certainly a complete non-service delivery to our communities.
So we're not going to exhaust this in this particular interview, but I can tell you, Gilberto, I'm just looking at my inboxes and people are not happy in Emfuleni. I'm getting messages coming through. There's another one coming through as we speak. We pay for water on time, yet, in some instances, there's no water available. The municipality is lax in attending to problem areas, sewer problems across various townships in Emfuleni. Seemingly, these are things that have been going on, are still continuing even now, and nothing seems to be done about it. So people are saying, how is this municipality being placed under administration assisting? Because they feel that nothing has changed.
If I can, and I fully feel the residents are correct. They certainly are venting the day-to-day lives, and we travel those areas at times. We may not be there living physically, but we see the frustration. But the one issue about Emfuleni, and certainly any municipality, I believe, played as administration, is one's got to consider the resources. I'm talking about the human resources and capacity. Emfuleni at one point may have been at 80% paying for services. They're down to 71, and it's possibly, in reality, possibly down to 60. So what this creates, it's not because residents saying they're not paying, it's that they perceive they're not receiving services. In some instances, they're not. For example, you'll often get a complaint that they pay for waste removal 4 times a month, but it's only happening twice a month. And when one starts unpacking the reasons over a period of time, and it's not new, the situation, unfortunately, it's been dragging for a while. If it wasn't for the assistance of GDOT, we wouldn't have got vehicles to do compaction to take our waste away. So it's a resource issue, and can be.
Yeah. Gilberto, we are unfortunately out of time. I have to take this break, but we're not talking to refuse because that is an important issue, but people are talking about water. They're talking about the fact that they live with sewer spills on their streets, in their doors, on their doorsteps, in their backyards. When will this be addressed? Because we've done broadcasts in Emfuleni and it seems the situation just continues. Just very briefly, how do you attend addressing this immediately?
The Section 63 is the program that will address all the sewer and waters and sanitation. That's the national program that has been put in.
Well, unfortunately, that's signal breaking, but definitely we'll catch up again with the situation in Emfuleni. But thanks so much for your time this morning. Emfuleni Municipality's lead administrator, Gilberto Martins, and he and his team have taken over as administrators following the appointment by the Gauteng provincial government in December to replace the initial administrators who left after a year and a half into the process. Let's take a quick break.